What is going on, FA Nation? John Hembe here with James Grande. It is, he's throwing me off. Grande time. What do we got going on here? We got Friday, 12-game DraftKings main slate here. Grande, how are you feeling about today, man?
So by that, what do you mean?
How are you feeling? 12-game slate. We got some interesting ownership to talk about.
Yeah, I feel fine as myself. It's Friday. That's great. The slate, I think, is incredibly intriguing because you and I don't agree with everything going on that everyone is playing. So I think that's always fun and it presents fun leverage.
Yeah, I agree with you there 100%. Yeah, Richard in here with the Grande time. Now I see it. I was wondering where the comment was. It's okay. I won't take any offense to it. It's fine. We got Lone Wolf DFS in here, giving us the wolf emoji.
He was the lone wolf that took your side in today's YouTube comments, by the way.
I appreciate it. There's no evidence to suggest that I said Ken. So
literally, the evidence is you saying Ken Hendricks.
I think I said can, and I think that's where the problem was there. But we got 12 games to talk about. We have ownership to talk about. No one apparently playing cores. We built an entire cores game stack on the preview show that we loved. And now I love even more if you're telling me that it's like less than 10% per player in that stack there. So all about it. We have top end pitching here. Your chalk pitching for today. Logan Gilbert drawing the high ownership. We did kind of suggest maybe that would be the case with Gilbert against Miami at home, where Yamamoto a bit more expensive and having to, maybe less win equity going up against Paul Skeens, even though the Dodgers are still favorites in this game here. Not what you'd expect generally as a Dodger Pirates matchup, the line on this one. So, spending up and pitching today certainly seems the way to go. I actually built a lineup pretty comfortably today. That was a Yamamoto Gilbert build with cores. So it can get there. You can make it work if you want to go that direction here today. But there's some good value obviously on the slate. We really like the mid-tier for pitching. So all in all, it is shaping up to be a good one. The only game with weather concerns is the same game we talked about on the preview show, as Lone Wolf brings up here. Red Sox, Cleveland. That game is looking to be a tough one to maybe not even get in if you're looking at Kevin Roth and his weather report over on Roto Grinders. We said it again on the preview show. I looked at the hourly report. It's basically going to have isolated thunderstorms the entire evening. And when it is the first, there it is right there. Red Sox Guardians postponed already just now. Live.
That's great. Honestly, good. 12 games to 11. Wonderful.
Down to 11.
Keep it coming.
I said
Give us less.
Yeah, I said it in the playbook. I was like, hey, listen, this is the first game of a series. They could very easily postpone this one and just double header it on Saturday or Sunday. And there we go.
With the first game of the series with the weekend, right around, like it's easy.
Perfect for them to be able to get it done. So they postponed that game already. So down to 11. Won't really impact the chalk all that much. Nobody's really playing that game. So there it is. Both pitchers. Playing both pitchers in Dodgers and Skeens, a good player. Nah. Well, sure. I mean, I don't often want to pitch against the Dodgers. I would rather play Yamamoto against Pittsburgh. But Skeens is certainly capable of shutting down a Dodgers lineup. I'd rather, if you want to double spend, just find $200 and play Gilbert. Like, no one's playing Skeens, so you can certainly be different and go in that direction. But for him to pay it off, he needs to have an elite game with a win, which is really not something we've seen too much out of him here. So quite yet. So not to say he can't do it, just where it's at. So we'll get into it. That's kind of my commentary in the top pitching. Do you have any alternative thoughts on those?
Yeah, and I think when it comes to JC's comment, I feel like obviously he'll have it like lower owned, but that is more low or smaller slate stuff for me. Like I'd rather take a shot on doing that on a smaller slate. On the bigger slates, like you want to optimize your lineup the best you can. So like you don't care as much on the small slates to lose like 4 fantasy points, where on like the big slates you do. Like there's going to be scoring everywhere. So I wouldn't do it. My take is basically what yours is. I'd probably rank the top 3 as they are currently listed in place. But if you need,
and again, you're getting a nice little discount on ownership if you play Yamamoto over Gilbert right now. So,
which you and I fully expected. Like that is the best pitching environment on the in the league, and the perception of Miami, maybe not the reality, because Miami's actually been better than what they've probably.
Yeah, the 25% strikeout rate's about really the ceiling part of that matchup, but they have been better offensively as a whole. They have some really good power lefties. It's just like we've said, this ballpark is such a pitcher's park.
Yes.
That, even that power from a Stowers or a Mervis or a Jesus Sanchez against Logan Gilbert in general anyways may not really come through. So,
right.
It's kind of where we're at there. Lomos, our thoughts on Sale. Again, we went over this numbers on Sale last night. The XFIP and the FIP and all that stuff look good for Chris Sale. But, this isn't the spot to test it, right? Against Arizona, as good of a lineup that can be, even when their good hitters are all from the left side. And the strikeout rate obviously still high for Sale. To me, this is just a dangerous spot to want to try and find a get-right game for Chris Sale.
I was about to ask you, do you see Lolo's new comment? I was going to ask you what your guess is on their strikeout rate against lefties this year.
17%.
Lower.
14%.
If we are rounding up, it is 14, yes.
Yeah.
If we're rounding up.
Yeah, what's the, again, small sample size probably for a little bit of it. We're only not even a week into the season. They may have only faced a couple of actual lefty starters yet, but again, there will be a better spot to try Chris Sale. And you know what? Honestly, hope he gets shelled today because he's $9,000. If he gets hurt, if he gets hit again, we might have an under 9K Chris Sale. We already had it once this year against the Dodgers. We might be looking at another under 9K Chris Sale coming up. Rather go in that direction there. We'll talk. We can talk about it now if you want, if we're just in the mid-range. I like Matthew Liberatore a lot. Wrote him in the playbook, put him as a core play for today. Milwaukee, just another team. Now, their strikeout rate's only 22% against against left-handed pitching, so it's not as high as some of the other matchups here. But the rest of the numbers against left-handed pitching kind of suck. So if you're a believer in Liberatore, who has a 0.72 walks per 9 on the year, the dude is not walking anybody. He's at about an 8.5, I think with 8.6 K per 9. I think there's a really good opportunity for him in this matchup against Milwaukee. Get Milwaukee on the road and a pitcher's park as well. Kind of lends a little bit more into the favor there. And then, you and I talked, Hayden Wesneski, one of our favorite mid-tier plays, going up against the White Sox, even in Sutter Health Park at Severino, could be an option at $8,000. Pablo Lopez, high strikeout guy, an Angels lineup that certainly strikes out a lot. And then Abbott, who has a lot of good underlying numbers. Obviously, it's Coors Field, but Colorado just kind of stinks as a whole. I think you can really just play 5 different guys in this mid-range today.
Yeah, I think the mid-range is interesting, and, Chris Sale is not included in that.
No.
Wesneski at 1% is great. Pablo Lopez looks great as long as he can limit home runs. The Andrew Abbott price, I don't love. I know he's pitched well in the 2 games he's appeared in this year, but I don't love the price going into Coors Field. It's not my favorite because I don't think he's an $8,600 pitcher out of anywhere really. I think, and now you're putting him in Coors. I don't think that price matches the pitcher. I like Liberatore. We've talked about Milwaukee a lot over the last 2 years. There has not been additions to that lineup for righty bats. Caleb Durbin is the only new Vinny Capra. Are those the guys that you're holy cow, I am terrified of Milwaukee righties. Only other name I'd throw out there too, and it's someone that was not on the slate last night, is Nathan Eovaldi. And I do have some interest in Eovaldi at 9,200. Just, San Francisco is obviously a good lineup, and they have some power bats in their lineup. They also, strike out moderately high. They're right around league average against right-handed pitching this year. So I like the ballpark adjustment for Evaldi. Obviously he has strikeout upside, and obviously there's few pitchers that throw more pitches per game and few pitchers that go deeper into games typically than Nathan Evaldi.
Yeah. I mean, definitely has the 100 pitch count. When he's going right, obviously he hasn't been able to get there the last couple of starts for him. Ownership, though, I mean, Michael King is actually drawing a lot of love here. I know, Tampa Bay were kind of like our early boys, with their lefty power bats, but the appeal of the Tampa Bay has largely been their home ballpark and the dimensions. Now you're getting them in San Diego against Michael King, who after kind of like a little bit of a rough start, has settled down. The pitch count you want to talk about, through 110 pitches in his complete game shutout. So we know there's length to be had there. We know there's strikeout upside here. 24% of the field getting to Michael King today. Does that register for you?
Yeah, he's just a really good pitcher with high strikeout upside. So, I mean, he's been batted 2 starts and then 2 absolute dominant electric dynamo starts as well, right, where he goes for 35 plus fantasy 43 points. Yeah. I mean, so I get it. We talk about this all the time. Strikeouts are king on DraftKings, and I would say he's up at the top tier of guys on this slate that can just straight up miss bats.
I agree. Thoughts on Sevy? He had 1 strikeout in his last start. We've seen him with a trio of starts with 6 strikeouts. White Sox offense, it is obviously Sutter Health Park. Nobody's playing Severino that I can see here. He is 13%. So, 5th highest roster pitcher today. Big favorites are the Athletics today. Their implied run totals over 5. White Sox, they're just around 4. It was even under 4 at one point earlier today. 3 of his starts he's been pretty good at. What do we think of Severino here?
I mean, they're 28th or worse in every category against right-handed pitching. I get it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I understand the appeal. They have a moderately high striker rate, 23% or so. So, if you end up getting to Luis Severino, I think you're happy with it. Another situation where I look at, okay, he's 13%. He's in the top 5 of ownership. Now there's 22 teams I'm picking from. I don't know. I might just go a different direction ultimately. Like Wesneski, I really haven't changed my opinion on. So that might be the direction I'd rather go than Sevy, especially technically considered one of the chalkier pitchers of the day versus Wesneski, who's not at all.
I agree. Steve wants to know best cash game stack for. I'm going to assume this is a pitching question. If not, we'll talk hitting in a moment here. If you had to give me your 2 cash game pitchers for today.
2 cash game pitchers.
Give me obviously a Gilbert, Yamamoto cash game.
Gilbert, Pablo Lopez.
Okay, Pablo Lopez. I like that one. Let's see. Anthony wants to know my crazy to fade Yankees stack with Judge. Are you saying to
with Judge?
You're crazy to play Yankees without Judge? I would not play a Yankees stack without Judge, if that's what you're asking. Yankees are obviously a popular team today. Aaron Judge is always elite. They moved Ben Rice to 3rd today. They got Trent Grisham leading off. So
dad power, by the way, John. Narrative Street.
For Grisham,
fresh off the paternity.
Yep. We had, let's see, he had another one. Anthony, do we ask us 2 questions? Do we like the Toronto bats? And then would you better stack Seattle Blue Jays or Dodgers? I mean, we'll get into it. We're not really big Seattle offense guys today in Seattle specifically. Cal Quantrill's obviously been very bad, so maybe they come through. Blue Jays have Carlos Carrasco. Outside of 1 start where he shut us down, he's been pretty bad. And then the Dodgers get Skeens. So no one's playing the Dodgers versus Skeens, as we talked about in the preview show. So if you wanted to get some of that, you could. I would rather, I guess, play Blue Jays. I don't love the Blue Jays lineup though. They're not like my favorite play of the day today. So,
Yep.
All right, let's go on over to catcher, where we said on the preview show we'd look for some value and see who's in or out of the lineups here today. Furman is $2,100 against Wisniewski. We're obviously liking Hayden here in that spot, but he is a punt option for us here. Augustin,
Yeah.
Augustin, there you go. Ramirez, $2,500 for him, but he's got Gilbert, really talented dude, and might just be a plug.
Yep.
We have not Omar. We don't have the other one. Where's the other White Sox?
Quero. He's 31.
31. There you go. Quero against Severino. So you got him too as some cheap options for you at the catcher spot. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think catcher's crazy today. Can I say it?
Sure.
It's crazy. There's two guys that are super high owned that are almost $5,000.
Yeah.
And it leads us to the Seattle question. And it leads you to the Seattle. Kyle Quantrill is a bad pitcher, but man, they are in the worst. I'm not saying Raleigh can't homer and all these Seattle players aren't good plays because they're fine. But that is super chalk.
You see the splits. I mean, again, small sample size, but home games this year, 13 games, one more than the road. 170 average, 730 OPS, 468 slugging, just dramatic drop-offs for Seattle here at home in Raleigh, especially.
It's just not, man, it's not my favorite. So, and Langoliers, I do understand they're going with an opener and then Burke, but the ballpark is great, but just not something that on a core slate, and I guess that's why people aren't playing cores because they're going other directions. But Goodwin at 40 or Goodman at 42, coming off a pretty good stretch of games. I think he makes a good amount of sense. I really like Ryan Jeffers at 36. I was just looking at Kyle Hendricks is now amongst all pitchers the fourth luckiest pitcher in the game, and I've said to you for a little bit, Ryan Jeffers has gotten super unlucky, some of the worst luck out of all positions imaginable. And the Twins look really good. That lineup is really cheap, so cheap outside of Buxton. I love Jeffers hitting sixth in that lineup against a bad pitcher who throws really slow and a lot of fly balls. So I think Jeffers is live, and I like Quero. That I'm not and punts, if you want to punt Kirk or you want to punt Augustin Ramirez, those things. But and I'm not, only reason I'm not playing Fermin is because I'm playing Wisniewski. And again, another you can do that, but on a bigger slate, you do run into issues stacking against your own pitcher, even with a punt catcher.
Yeah, and I honestly I'm okay also playing him against our own pitcher because he's $2,100. You just kind of hope he doesn't do too much damage against your guy, and or he gets a zero, which the other day you played a $5,300 who was it there
Bobby Witt
Soderstrom or whatever.
Soderstrom, yeah,
and had a zero. So would you rather a $5,300 zero or a $2,100 zero? I know which one I would choose. So
yes, agreed.
That's the game of baseball for you. Quickly though, I want to just give a note on the Seattle stats. We'll just say this at the top of the show because we're going to talk about it as we get to guys here. Split stats, home and away, take it for what you want, obviously. But Seattle at home this year, worst batting average in baseball, 187. Their WOBA at home this year, second worst, 283. Only the White Sox are worse in their home ballpark this year. ISO this year at home, Seattle, a little bit better. They're more in the middle of the pack, 149. But everything else is just atrocious for them. Third worst in slugging, third worst in OPS. Just not a good offensive ballpark. You go to StatCast and look at the park factors for StatCast there, and it's just not a good ballpark to sort of just be part of. So largely down on that one there. All right, let's go to first. This was kind of an interesting spot for us because we kind of just went to steer on the previous show. We're like, hey, $4,000 steer in
Yep.
Coors feels great, but no one's playing them. I think Ben Rice hitting third now becomes a very interesting spot to look. Has Judge hitting in front of him, a little lineup protection there. What are you looking to do at first base today?
Yeah, just Reds lineup looks pretty good too. Steer hitting sixth. Like I like that. That's a good position lineup for him. Yeah. So you can obviously spend up. I'm not playing Arizona today. I know Sale's the stats look bad, and we know Arizona's offense. They also have no good numbers against lefties, except their walk rate. Like their walk rate, and they don't strike out. They walk a lot, but they're Naylor, Pavin, I'm going to ignore. I think this is a really good spot for Vladdy. I think this is a really good spot for Ben Rice, as you mentioned. I would play Paul Goldschmidt in a Yankee stack because the guy just looks like MVP prime Goldschmidt, at least hitting. Like, no power, but like, dude, he is just always hitting. It's just insane. This is
the
like
440 batting average in Boston play has to end at some point.
Yes,
but,
yes.
For now, it's not. So
it is insane. But like it is building on the second half of last year, right? Where he was actually a serviceable baseball player. And he said that coming to the Yankees. He's like, I sucked in the first half? I should have, I could have went with the meme. Missed opportunity there. Sorry, I'll be better next time.
Friday.
But yeah, I haven't really changed my opinion. I haven't steered away from my original opinion on this because this is just a better player. And you've talked about this. Guy was hurt. Didn't get a good start to the year. Like people don't just get dropped into baseball without playing baseball and then like, here, every pitcher that team's going to throws 98 plus.
Yeah,
go try to hit that.
Get your timing down and don't worry about the curveball they're going to throw in the middle of it. You know?
Yeah, I mean so he's like on the fly, and we've seen better games out of Spencer Steer. He has historically been elite against left-handed pitching specifically.
Yeah.
And he's in the best environment for hitting. And once again, like, hey, wouldn't you know, Baseball Savant pitcher or ballpark factor, they're number one in the league. So like, It hasn't changed. And I think seeing their ownership is criminal. I'm not sitting here saying the Reds are great. I'm not sitting here saying Colorado's great, but nobody's playing it. John, you and I will be the brave souls, and we'll let you know.
I'll play Coors Field. Look, tonight Coors Field scores 4 runs, then so be it.
So be it.
More often than not, we're getting the over hit in a Coors Field game. So,
Agreed.
Like I said, the only thing that's sort of like throwing a wedge into that is that Sutter Health Park, in terms of park factor this season, is higher than Coors.
Yes.
So,
yes.
You know, the Coors Light comment was incorrect. It's more Coors than Coors is.
Coors Senior. It's Coors Senior.
Yeah. So, that's really the only thing that's there. You have now. Again, they're going with the opener as a lefty. I think Burke is a righty, though, right?
Burke is a righty. Yep. Burke's
so, like, you'll get Gilbert for the first run through. All those lefties he'll face, probably the reason they're doing it. But second time around, you know, if you want to go Nick Kurtz or Soderstrom or whatever, you can. You know, I mentioned, I know it's the ballpark. We talked about it, but like Rowdy Tellez is all the way down here, $2,500. Again, I understand everything we just bounced on Seattle, and Seattle's ballpark and park factor rating is 28th in baseball. So, as we said, not good.
That's improving. That's improving.
Yeah. If you're looking to punt, I mean, I don't know. Like, Rowdy's not the worst option here.
He's hitting fifth.
Yeah, against Cal Quantrill. So, I'll just refresh the screen if we got the lineups going. We'll see if some of these.
Yeah, he's in fifth.
All right. Anything else at first base that you're looking for?
Anything else at first?
Wilson Contreras is 3,100.
Yeah, Wilson Contreras. You had talked about the Seth Lugo stuff. Christian Walker has been really good lately. Christian Walker, $3,500 hitting fifth.
Yeah.
And you talked about Houston in general.
Yeah, they're way better now. The last 2 weeks, which again, small sample size, given the 1 month we've had of the season, all of their numbers are looking more Houston-y than they were before. So,
like, Lugo has looks pretty unlucky against righties this year, but 179 ISO, 331 WOBA to righties this year. So if Walker continues to hit, obviously he's $1,000 too cheap.
Yes.
So
I think we were paying $5,000 for him last year. So
I'm pretty sure he has been. I mean, he was 4,700 on opening day.
Yeah.
And this is only the second time this year he's been sub 4K. And despite that, he's in the best stretch of his season. So, like,
and you know what? He was another guy that during spring got hurt. Didn't he have the oblique?
Hurt? Yep, he had the oblique.
So slow start, coming around, seeing pitches, getting timing ready, and now that offense is clicking a little bit more. All right, second base. Again, Luke Keyshaw, core play written up in the playbook today. They still got him hitting third. He's been phenomenal. He's got more walks than strikeouts. He's got more stolen bases than games played almost. Everything you want out of this kid is happening for us here. And you mentioned already Hendricks just really bad.
Well, yes, really lucky.
Houston is a new noun here, Willie. Yeah, Houston. So,
Houston?
Could be a verb.
Who said that? Did you say that?
I said they're starting to be more Houston-y.
I like that.
Last year, more of a team we're familiar with their production. Anyways, Keyshaw, $3,500 hitting third. He's our boy. Don't really have an inclination to play anybody other than this guy in my lineup today. But there are certainly other options you can go. Santiago Espinal's hitting seventh today. I thought maybe he would hit a little bit further in their lineup as he had been, but still okay. Guy that has historically hit lefties well, and you're getting that Coors Field experience, exposure there at $3,600. Took me a little second to get to it, but we got it. Got Moore at 43 against Quantrill. Again, I understand the ballpark, not great, but Moore's been really good. I don't really want to spend up. McLean is too expensive for me at $6K. Because you have to then make a decision almost. Like, if you're spending $6K on McLean, you're likely not spending up for Ellie or a pitcher or, and I'd rather just not do that for McLean when I could play Keyshaw here.
I think it's pretty set in stone that we're playing Keyshaw. I think all of our viewers by now that aren't watching for the first time understand we're going to play Keyshaw basically
until he's 5K?
Until he's
probably.
Yeah, I mean, not this price hitting. I mean, he's hitting third. I just looked. I was curious. So Kyle Hendricks, fourth highest Sierra. I was looking for fly ball rate, 47% fly ball rate amongst all pitchers with 20 innings at starters. He's 22nd at a 47% fly ball rate. I mean, dude, fly balls, luck, like that stuff does not go together, right? Like someone who allows a lot of fly balls and is very lucky eventually allows a lot of home runs. So
not from him. Luke Keyshaw will not hit a lot of home runs, but
well, you know what? Jake Wilson has a couple this year. Maybe Luke Keyshaw.
He might hit some good doubles. Like there's, he's
hey, you know what? And yeah, that's just it with triples. Even if he doesn't, he's every time he's on first, he's seemingly on second because he steals. So like. Yeah, it's his position and it's his world and we're living at it at second base. Brendan Donovan at 44 looks great because he's great. He's been absolutely unbelievable this year for St. Louis. You mentioned Espinal is fine. I want to acknowledge that Tim Tawa is unbelievable at baseball apparently. And how do you not keep this guy going when Ketel Marte returns if he's still hitting
Jordan
this
Waller
way?
Just down to AAA, like playing awesome. He's like, I didn't get the call, and this dude's hitting, so I guess I'm playing down at AAA.
Semien is cheap, but like terrible spot. And then Julian, we've talked about this. Like, hasn't obviously been nearly the upside player that Luke Keyshaw has been, but he is leading off.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's see. Third base we go. As soon as my computer goes, there we go. It was a little lag delay. I like Austin Riley. I'm not afraid of Zach Allen. Are you afraid of Zach Allen today?
No.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of Zach Allen there either.
No.
I would definitely go with Austin Riley at $4,800 if you're looking to spend up at this position. I mentioned on the show I thought Noelvi Marte was going to be like mega chalk. I'm like, oh my God, Coors and 3,900, and you're going to get. But since nobody's playing Coors, nobody's playing Noelvi Marte, and while you are right to point out that 7 of his 8 RBIs came in one game in which he hit a grand slam off of a position player. He did send homer here, so did get a real pitcher, and now they're in Coors, which isn't really a real stadium. So I am all about getting Noelvi Marte at $3,900 in my lineup today.
Dude, like 4 of his 9 hits, or 5 of his 9 hits came in that game. I mean, 2 of which became against a position player. He actually is getting a decent amount of ownership because third, nobody knows what to do. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's about 8 players getting 8% ownership or more because nobody has any clue.
When I said not getting ownership, I guess I qualified it. I don't qualify it enough. Less than 10%, right? So
less than 10%.
Jorge Polanco's your chalk at 15%, but it is also, like you said, a very kind of widespread ownership. Noelvi Marte is around 10%. Josh Smith, Jonathan India, Luis Arias, and Miles Mastroboni are all kind of together around this 8-9% range as well. Josh Smith is a really good player at a really good price here at $3,400. As we mentioned, Verlander, dusty a little bit here.
Very.
He's got the dual positional eligibility. We had the one slate where Josh Smith had first base eligibility. RIP to that. We're now down to third base outfield eligibility for him here, but I would plug him over Josh Young right now.
Yeah. Now it's kind of interesting. The righties have been what's absolutely crushed Justin Verlander this year, but Josh Smith has been better than Josh Young.
Yeah, and Josh Young is better versus lefties than righties typically. We did finally homer,
except yesterday. He homered off.
Finally got a homer yesterday. So,
and it's also the ballpark. Another one, I'm not saying it's a bad play. It's also just a crappy ballpark.
No, for sure. If you needed a couple of $100 though, I'd be more comfortable. I think Josh Smith, and I guess I want to see where he's sitting in that lineup too. They hit him leadoff the other day. If they do something like that again, do we have a Rangers lineup out yet?
I thought I saw Rangers. Let's see.
Okay. No. I mean, if he's sitting leadoff again, I think that makes him ultra appealing for me.
Agreed.
I would do Williamson, even though, again, I know we've talked a lot about Seattle kind of being a bad spot today. Quantrill's not good.
It's not like a bad spot. It's just interesting to see the ownership that high. I'm not saying it's impossible.
You see them put 4 runs on Garrett Crochet, and everybody's like, "We're going back to the well today."
Right? Boston and Seattle are incredibly different in terms of game environment. So, Boston during the day,
are they jet lagged at all? Do you think? Going East Coast road trip all the way to West Coast.
We're not doing this. We're not doing this. No,
Brooks Lee's $2,600. You got him
coming around.
Good player.
The luck turning.
Player. Yeah. All right. That's all I got though. What do you anything else for you at third?
People just playing Mastroboni, as you mentioned, as a punt because nobody can avoid playing this game.
Steve wants your A's Rangers. Wants your cash offense stack because you gave him A's Rangers on Tuesday. Just you alone. On the A's.
It definitely wasn't you. I also don't think I did.
It was me. That's fine. No, it was
you. But it was honestly just me. Honestly, thank you for all the credit. I appreciate it.
You get no respect around here, man. No respect.
No, don't listen to anything John says. Cash stack. I will say, I'll say Minnesota because they're so cheap, and in cash, you're gonna spend up on Yamamoto or Gilbert or both. And I think Minnesota provides the value that you need in cash games. So I'll go Minnesota for cash. But obviously, elephant in the room, if Coors goes for 45 runs, guess what?
Isn't that the most insane thing? So. Generally, a cash game stack is going to be Coors Field. So I would also say the A's. I would throw the I would throw the A's in that consideration as well. I think that that matchup there. Okay. Shortstop again, Ellie up at the top, $6,400. It is not his right split side, but he did homer from the right side the other day, and it's Coors Field. And if he gets on base, he's gonna steal. So like, there's a lot of different ways for him to get you at. And like we said on the show, I don't think Kyle Freeland's throwing all 9 innings today, so there's a good chance at some point Ellie gets a righty and his back goes power side on the left side of the plate. So spending up for Ellie for me, again, was the way I was planning on going with this slate here today. When it comes to the chalk plays, however, that is not necessarily the case. He's only the 4th highest rostered shortstop for today. He is the highest rostered spend up at the position, but Jorge Polanco, which we didn't really touch on at his other position where he's eligible at third base, he is getting the ownership really good from the left side. Again, they're in Seattle, so take that for kind of what it is at. Bo Bichette is getting some ownership love here today, as is Carlos Correa.
Okay, can we give Ellie some? It's a small sample. Can we give him some lefty? Lefty hitting?
Can we get him better? Is he better from the right side right now?
Can I give you the numbers to? And I know it's going to excite you here because I'm
all in on Ellie Cruz in like 9 different leagues and DFS. So
yeah. So this year against lefties, he has a 194 ISO. It is a 353 expected ISO. 353 is an absolute masterclass of a number. 304 WOBA, expected WOBA 420, John. So those are some great expected stuff for Ellie De La Cruz, who still striking out a ton against lefties.
It's still a 27% strikeout rate. Still only hitting 226, but maybe he's getting a little unlucky with the 250 BABIP, which honestly,
250 BABIP.
Overall this year, he's getting killed on the BABIP. His BABIP's only, for a guy like him, you would think he'd be up in the 350s, 360s. It's just a 320 BABIP for him. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm like I said, I'm playing him. I'm just, against left or against righties, rather, the numbers are just way better for him. So, all right. So you have Ellie up at the top. If you're not playing Wesneski, you want to go Bobby, you certainly could. As I mentioned, Bichette getting a lot of love. Toronto against Carrasco there. Polanco in the mid-range. Jacob Wilson, someone I'm always willing to play at $3,600. I had the game-winning hit the other day, so you have that in their lineup. Anything else for you?
You mentioned the Polanco stuff. Obviously, he only can hit from the left side right now. So it's a side injury that has caused him to have too much pain swinging from the right side. So like, I get wanting to go here, but you and I were talking about on the last night's podcast. Like, there is a strong possibility if the lefty's in and he's up, he's getting pitch hit for. He's only hit, I think, lefty once this year. They usually just turn to Mitch Garver. And Garver homered yesterday. Or 2-run doubled off Crochet. So maybe more confident to go there. You can get to Correa. I think Correa looks absolutely horrible this year. But he's $3,400. He's not a $3,400 player. Fits into stacks quite well, just with where he sits in the lineup.
Steve, just play Keyshaw.
Yeah, just play Keyshaw.
Especially for cash games.
Especially for cash.
So Brooks Lee is down here. That's probably it for short, right?
Yeah, there's nothing.
Outfield. One of those situations in the outfield where obviously Yankees, Aaron Judge for sure, and Keefe in here saying Yankees 1 through 5 look great. I would agree with you. Can get a really nice Yankee stack today, playing a 3K Grisham with the $6,500 Judge 1-2. Great little mini stack there. Throw Rice at $4,500 or whatever it is, and get him 1 through 3. But you have Ohtani versus Skeens, Caro versus Sale, Tatis leading off against Boz, O'Neal Cruz, who had ended the game last night on a 119 exit velo line drive. Just happened to hit it directly at Mike Trout, unfortunately for him. He's at Yamamoto. It's not like you're going to go there. So while all of these guys are playable and in great, are great talents, rare spot where they don't always have the greatest of matchups to target outside of Judge and like Rooker I don't know. What's your take here?
My take is Aaron Judge looks great. Jose Barrios has been the numbers, dude. They look really bad against righties. 341 ISO, 417 WOBA. They look equally as bad against lefties. 185 ISO, 341 WOBA to lefties. Obviously, Judge has been better against lefties this year, but can't really be mad at a 219 ISO, 479 WOBA. So I think Aaron Judge is leaps and bounds better than every other spend up here. Rooker looks great. Chourio looks great. I think Butler and Soderstrom both look great because you're going to get most of your at-bats against Sean Burke and the bullpen there. And then Austin Hayes looks great. So that's probably you could play Shohei, of course. You could play Tatis and Carroll and stuff, but I think there's just better plays. I also think Mike Trout's an interesting candidate. As a Pablo Lopez respecter and truther, I acknowledge he's a good pitcher. I also think that Mike Trout's been one of the most unlucky players in baseball, and Pablo Lopez gives up a ton of fly balls. So I would also have some interest in, like, if you're in large field stuff, playing a lot of lineups. I love Pablo Lopez today, but also wouldn't be surprised if he gave up multiple home runs to the Angels.
Looking around in this mid-range tier, obviously there's some plays that we can get to and build lineups around. I think getting the Yordan at 5K feels like a good play. Austin Hayes, 5K against Freeland. You go to the Toronto, get Springer hitting cleanup today. Wyatt Langford's $4,600. Where, as we work our way down to this 4K tier, are some of your core targets?
Dude, I think the Langford shout is really interesting when you look at Verlander, because Verlander 264 ISO to righties, 360 WOBA. I mean, it's over 200 pitches. So we're starting to really build a strong sample. And you and I were talking about the Langford power last night. 310 ISO against righties this year. Like, we're finally getting that like breakout performance from Wyatt Langford. I love Langford 46. Brenton Doyle. I think Brenton Doyle rules here, 4,600. He has been absolute dynamo at Coors Field over the last couple of years. He has been like what Coors Field players dream about playing there. Brenton Doyle embodies it when you look at the numbers over the last few years. So love Doyle, love Langford. Taylor Ward's a home run candidate. Soler's a home run candidate. And yeah, that's probably, I think Santander looks pretty good at 4K. Cookie Carrasco.
Yeah, are we just waiting for the day that Santander looks like the guy he did in Baltimore, or is that just not coming anymore? Like,
yes. No, that's coming. He didn't just collect the bag, and that's coming. That's coming. No one, dude, nobody on Toronto is hitting home runs.
Well, they all got paid.
Like, that's coming.
Like, Vladdy's like, all right, I got 500 mil in the bank. I don't need to swing this anymore. Like, and Santander got a big bag in the offseason. So,
Fair.
Value range. I like Victor Scott. I like it better when he's sitting at the top of the lineup. But that's not the case. We got an A's lineup here. Let's see who's in the A's lineup today. Kurtz is still down there at 7. Wilson hitting 6. So the usual lineup for them there, sadly. Soderstrom in left field today for Soderstrom. So moving him out there. Bouchard's 36 hitting second. Beck, as you meant, 34 for him. Coming off the 3 homer game, I think you said it was, right?
He had
3 homer doubleheader.
He had 3 home runs and 3 homer doubleheader.
So there's definitely some value. I mentioned Grisham leading off at 33. Newfound dad power, really good StatCast page as well. Baseball savant for Trent Grisham here. Nothing like we've ever.
The mustache, and the baseball savant page both looking
nothing like we've ever seen before out of this guy. But I mean, those are insane.
No, plus defender that doesn't wear batting gloves and
just absolutely
was
raking
defensive replacement. Yeah. And like, the good thing is, like, about when it comes to Grisham, he won't be pinch hit for. he is usually the guy that's like defensive replacement later in the game. He's not. He's safe. Hitting first in front of Judge. He's gonna get a lot of pitches to hit here. Short porch against a guy who can't get lefties or righties out. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm with you here. Anything else?
Larnack at 3,000 looks really good.
Hitting cleanup. Backtrack gives the power there.
Hitting cleanup.
That's good there.
Yep.
Jordan Walker ever going to become anything ever?
Probably not. DeZenzo has looked pretty good lately. He's been a large piece of the Houston.
So yeah, DeZenzo hitting 6 and Cam Smith hitting 8th.
Yeah, and you could play them both. I probably wouldn't because I feel like you're leaving a lot on the table, but Houston's really cheap today, dude. Like Walker 35, Pena's hitting 4th at like mid 3s. It's a very cheap stack to get to.
I agree. And as I said, you get Jordan at 5K. You know, I know you mentioned it, but like easy to build around him, and eventually the home runs are going to come there. So
very easy.
Like
yep.
Are we just going to go back and build a lineup we built in the preview show? Because I haven't really changed my lineup. like, is there anything new that you would want to get to instead? Like, do you want to get more Yankees now that like Grisham is like leading off and things like that? Like,
I mean, we can. I'm not necessarily like.
Is Yamamoto still here number 1?
Or against
if we did like Yamamoto Liberatore here, which I know we did Wesneski on the preview show, but give ourselves a little bit more cash, right? And we did. So much lag on my computer here. We did Keyshaw, Marte, $3,900 Marte with like Ellie. Can we do like a Rice or a Rice Grisham? I'm just taking over for you. Rice Grisham. That's 34. Let's see. Punt catcher here. Just do like Furman because we're not using Wesneski 21.
Beck or
we did Larnick, and then that would give us 52.
Stack, yeah.
Buxton, one-off
Buxton or Doyle or Hayes.
Buxton, the Hayes
that range right there.
So like that gives us a Rice Grisham. Now no Judge obviously. But we're playing Ellie instead. So where we have a Reds, Yankees, Twins stack with Yamamoto and Liberatore. Right? Like I obviously I just threw that together with almost none of your input. But like what is is there anything?
No, I like it. I mean, I have no objection
like
to that.
That feels good. Now obviously if Aaron Judge goes and hits 2 homers today and Ellie doesn't, we're gonna be like, son of a gun, right? But
breaking
the rule. Yeah, Mark knows it. Stacking a team without their best player.
Yeah, but you're either we can do that if we don't play Yamamoto.
Double mid-tier.
But do we want to
like? Or I feel like we're losing money. So
and then
I don't know. On this slate, there's enough mid-tier that unless Yamamoto, Gilbert go for the 35, like I think we can get 25 out of Wesneski or Lopez, guys like that.
I agree.
So I mean, if we did something like that, we went back down to.
For transparency purposes, I built already. And I built Lopez with this.
So, I mean, even if we just did this, we have $2,500 to figure out, I guess, a way to get up to it.
You're not wrong. Like, if Logan Gilbert gets 40 tonight, we're in trouble. And if Yamamoto goes for 40, we're in trouble. If one of those
But we've gotten 28 out of Wesneski, and we've gotten 29 out of Liberatore. So we get ceiling games. We're cooking.
Yes. For sure. You need the ceiling. I mean, we're playing tournament. We're hoping we're playing these dudes for the ceiling, right? Like we're using them for the ceiling. I
wouldn't honestly, even with this change, like I don't have I guess I'd get off Hayes to get up to Judge. but I like Hayes. I like Hayes. I almost like Hayes more than I like Marte, honestly, but can't do much about it. So, anyways, guys, there's ways to do it today. We'll go back to what our original lineup looked like. Yamamoto and Hayes. But 2-man Yankees, 2-man Twins, 3-man Reds. I have a lineup with Gilbert and Yamamoto. Yeah, I built one too. It's super. Yeah. You can get to it. There's enough value today that you can make that lineup work. But if they don't go for 35 each, and any of these mid-tier guys do what they're capable of doing, you're kind of in trouble. So, that's just kind of the give and take of it all. So, again, just an example lineup for everybody: Yamamoto, Liberatore, Furman, Rice, Keyshaw, Marte, Ellie, Grisham, Larnach, and Hayes. If you want to go check out our preview show from this morning and check out the lineup we built there, it's more of a core stack that includes some Colorado plays in it as well instead of the Yankees. So you can see that one for us here. But it should be a fun night. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Playbook is out. Ownership's out. Everything's in there. We'll be in the Discord for y'all. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back on Sunday with the preview show, and we'll be back live again for Monday, and we'll talk to you then.